A lot of questions. Peter, thank you very much. So joining us now, David Wohl, an attorney, and Pablo Manriquez, a Democratic strategist and K Street Media co-founder. Gentlemen, welcome. Good to have both of you with us tonight.
Evening,
so in terms of Cuba, a fairly big development in terms of the approach and in terms of the people that would have to be brought back here, including Joanne Chesimard, which is a huge issue, if we were to reopen this agreement. So, Pablo, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that a sensible U.S.-Cuba policy needs to take into account two things. The very real suffering of the Cuban-American community and what they felt as exiles in this country for the past 6 decades, but also America's best interest, economic interest, and foreign policy interest, both at home and in the region. I feel like President Trump's statements today, his announcement today, definitely paid a lot of tribute to the latter, to the Cuban-American community, but it doesn't necessarily help the U.S. economy in the short or in the long term. In fact, if anything, it's going to cost us money and it's going to cost us jobs.
Well, I mean, when you look at the potential for the Cuban economy, I think a lot of people felt, David, that the original deal that was done under the Obama administration did quite a bit, actually, for the future of the Cuban economy and for the Cuban military and the regime.
That was exactly it, Martha. All the tourist dollars and the business dollars went exactly to the wrong places, the military and the Cuban regime. And I think the reality is that Mr. Trump knows what's going on here, and he knows how the innocent people are being persecuted there, and the 71 fugitives that are being harbored there, like the cop killer Joanne Chesimard, need to be returned. When Barack Obama made this deal, he went there and said, how about returning the fugitives, including the cop killer? They said no, and he said, okay, well, there's a new sheriff in town, and he said, bottom line is, he's going to renegotiate this deal, and part of that renegotiation, because he loves law enforcement and supports them 100%, will be returning all of those fugitives, and if Cuba knows what's in its best interest, it will comply, believe me.
All right, Pablo, your thoughts on the moves that were made in the announcement on DACA and on the parents who are here as well?
Well, I would like to say that I am a Democrat and I voted for Hillary Clinton, and I am extremely pleased with President Trump today. Mr. President, if you're watching, I would encourage you to talk and meet with Secretary Kelly and look for a more permanent solution like the one he mentioned he's in favor of to Congress the other day to keep these kids here, because they really are Americans and they deserve a future here.
All right, so how does that go over with President Trump's base, though, David?
Well, the base will have a little bit of a difficult time with it, but Martha, I liken it to a parent going into a store shoplifting and putting the merchandise in the child's backpack. The child isn't going to be convicted of any type of shoplifting. Mr. Trump has tremendous respect for young people who, against all odds, make successes out of their lives. He knows this is a big deal. He also respects John Kelly, the Secretary of DHS, tremendously. Kelly wants this to go through. So the big thing with Trump is he's going to keep that exception for kids who engage in criminal activity. But other than them, I fully expect this will proceed, and those kids will get the benefits of DACA, as long as they fit under the circumstances of the law.
Pablo and David, thank you very much. Good to see you both tonight.
Thank you, Martha.